They said the boy was a beggar. But Grace saw his eyes and froze, because that face wasn't a stranger. What if the dead never really died, and the past was hiding in plain sight? Sit back and enjoy the powerful story of truth discovery. That being in the most unexpected place. The rain refused to stop. Lagos was soaked in it. Streets shimmered with muddy puddles. Horns blared in the distance. Market umbrellas flapped like broken wings. And in the middle of all this chaos was a boy. He couldn't have been more than 8. Thin, skin patchy with dust. A torn shirt swallowed his tiny frame. Blood trickled from a raw wound just above his ankle, barely covered with an old handkerchief tied around it like a surrender flag. His palms were open, reaching toward people who didn't even glance at him. He didn't cry. He just stood there, in the middle of the storm, silent. That's when her car stopped. A sleek black G-Wagon with smoke windows. Inside was Grace Ayeni, the tech billionaire with cold eyes and a colder reputation. The kind of woman headlines either praised or feared. She was dressed in black, always black, like she was in mourning every day. She hadn't planned to be here. Her flight had been delayed. The board meeting had been canceled. Traffic rerouted her into this part of Surreal. Fate, it seemed, never asked for permission. She saw him, and something caught in her throat. She told her driver to stop. He hesitated. Then she opened the door herself and stepped into the downpour. She walked toward him, her heels sinking into wet sand. The boy looked up, no fear in his eyes. Just calm. "Where's your mother?" she asked. "She's gone," he replied. "And your father?" He hesitated, then said, "He died when I was small." Her eyes stayed locked on his. There was a pull, not pity, not charity, something deeper, like her soul recognized something before her mind could catch up. "What's your name?" she asked. The boy blinked. "Chica." Her heart stopped. No, it couldn't be. She stumbled back, not visibly, but something shook inside her. Chica, that name, that face. But it wasn't possible. Not after all these years. Not after what had happened. She turned back toward her car, then stopped, then turned again. "Get in." He didn't move. I said, "Get in." Still nothing. Then his legs wobbled and he collapsed. Her driver ran and lifted him gently into the car. They rushed to the hospital. It was supposed to be simple. Treat the wound. Give him warm clothes. Find a shelter. But life doesn't do simple. The doctor came in. She was an old friend. She ran a blood test. Standard procedure for the wound infection. Then she frowned. "Something's wrong," she said. The boy's blood matched something. Someone. She went quiet. And then she turned slowly to Grace. "Did you say you've never seen this boy before?" Grace shook her head slowly. The doctor hesitated. "His DNA matches yours." Silence. Grace blinked, like time itself had paused. She was sterile. Had been since the accident 14 years ago. But that wasn't the part that made her knees weak. 14 years ago. The same year, Namdi disappeared. Namdi, her fiancé. Her world. The man who had promised her forever. They had been driving back from a wedding in Benin when the crash happened. She survived. He didn't. Or so they told her. But what if... She ran out of the hospital, heart in her throat, storm still pouring. The next few days were a blur. Private investigators. Hidden documents. Photos she had buried in memory. And a single clue. An old, faded photo of Namdi holding a newborn baby with a woman she had never seen before. Chica was a son. And not just that, he was hers. The IVF cycle they had done just before the crash, she thought had failed. She never followed up. The clinic was shut down after the incident. But somehow, someone had used her embryo. She tracked the nurse, bribed her way through layers of lies. The truth spilled. Namdi didn't die. He was in a coma for 2 years. When he woke, he had no memory of her. The hospital sent him home to his village in Enugu. His family, bitter and traditional, had always hated Grace for being too rich, too independent, too modern. They told him she had died. And in that grief, they gave him a woman from their clan, a quiet girl who raised a child as hers. But 3 years ago, Namdi died, for real this time, heart failure. And his family, not wanting anything to do with a child that reminded them of her, abandoned him. Now the boy had wandered back to the city, like destiny itself was pulling the thread back to her hands. Grace broke down, first time in years. She went to the village, met the woman, saw the grave. The old hatred was still there, but truth was stronger now. She brought Chica home, but home wasn't ready. The media swirled like vultures. Rumors exploded. Headlines said she bought a child. Others said she went mad. But she didn't care, until the boy asked her one night, "Why did no one ever want me?" And she couldn't answer. So she built a story for him. She showed him photos of Namdi, told him how brave he was, how loved he had been, even if the world didn't show it, and that he, Chica, was a proof of a love so strong it had survived fire, lies, and time. They bonded. They healed. But something darker was still lurking. The woman from the village, the one who raised him, showed up again, not to reclaim the boy, but to reveal something else. Namdi had written a letter before his final breath, a confession. Grace read it trembling. In it, Namdi said he remembered everything. He had begun to recall flashes, her laughter, their dreams, the accident, but shame kept him silent. He thought he had betrayed her, raising a child she'd never know, loving another woman. He wrote the letter for her, hoping she'd find it someday. "I never stopped loving you," the last line read, "and our son carries the best of both of us." She wept for hours. Then she framed the letter, hung it above Chica's bed. Years passed. The boy grew. The wound healed. But the scar stayed, a reminder of everything lost and everything found. And every time the rain fell, Grace didn't curse it anymore. She sat by the window, watched it drip, and remembered how a storm once brought her the only piece of her heart she thought was gone forever. This story speaks of lost love, identity, betrayal, and the silent pull of destiny. It reminds us, what if the child you ignored held the truth you buried? What if healing comes not from forgetting, but remembering? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this if it moved you. And subscribe to my channel for more interesting story.